Grew up in a family of six. I'm the youngest out of six, and we were like the Brady Bunch: three boys, three girls. Uh, Mom and dad divorced when I was 7 years old, so we moved to Decatur. We were already in Decatur. We moved to a different part of Decatur, pretty much the projects. And I grew up there, and I learned from a lot of different people in those projects. It was funny because I was around mostly older people, and I grabbed a lot of great, valuable information, I guess you can say, during that time. Uh, I loved all sports. I played baseball, basketball, some football, but just being a neighborhood kid, you played until the lights, you know, came on, and pretty much that's what I was. And I was a pretty good student in grade school, high school, somewhat. But when I got to college, I think the light bulb went off, and I really became a really good student in college, and it kind of afforded me some great opportunities. I played basketball coming up, didn't really have a NBA, you know, dream or anything like that, but I've always wanted to coach, and so I would coach the young kids in my neighborhood even when I was young. Like when I was like 10 and 11, I would go grab kids that were 5 or 6 and just kind of coach them through a game of basketball or a game of baseball. But so I knew it was a gift. And then I had older siblings who had, children that I always babysat. So I was always connected to kids in some form of fashion, and so it just kind of pressed upon me. I remember I was in college. I went to school for accounting. I wanted to be an accountant because I love math. I grabbed a real nice feel for accounting while I was in high school. But I remember being walking through campus one day, and there was a kid came up to me, and he was raising money for something, a young kid. And I just remember the look in his eyes, and it just kind of made me just turn my heart toward wanting to be an educator, because I said, that's where my true gift, I think, is. And so the next day I walked to the advisement office or the, guidance office, and I changed my major. And ever since then, I wanted to become an educator. And so that's what I strive to do in college. The basketball thing was still there, and I had a love for it. And I wanted to say that, you know, I went after my purpose. It just happened to be basketball that kind of connected everything for me. And so went out and started coaching basketball, and graduated from college and went right into education. And I was an assistant basketball coach at a local middle school, Ralph Bunch Middle School. And, it was an older guy coaching the team, and he made me the assistant coach. And after the first year, and I'm just sitting there learning from him because I didn't know much about coaching at that particular point as far as like the real deal of coaching. So I was just calling myself learning. So if I was going to sit up under him for years, it was fine. But the next year, he asked me, he said, "Are you?" And I was like, "Ready for what?" And he said, "Are you ready to become the head coach?" And just that quick, and I couldn't say no. So I said, "Yes, I'm ready to become a head coach." And that kind of catapulted my coaching career.